When has there been a feeling of disparity and inequality for you, or intimidation or insecurity that you had to deal with or we needed to deal with?
Let's go back to like 2013. I had a very crazy year. I was traveling a lot. And then I go back into, Megan mode. And I go back home to the Philippines and try to find something to do or try to find out my next path. Fofo, knowing how driven he is and knowing how he thinks very business-like. No matter what happens or what's thrown at Mikael, he already knows what to do or he finds a way to like make things work. From my perspective, and my weakness was that I didn't know what I wanted to do per se. And sometimes I would feel intimidated or scared to like go through with an idea that I had because baka mamaya I won't be successful or I won't be able to do things as efficient as you or as great as you. So parang sometimes I would always compare myself to the drive and the workforce that you had in yourself. Parang I was already setting myself up to fail. I would hold myself back na parang, shucks, hindi ko kaya.
Although she still does think about that sometimes.
I don't think like my feeling has anything to do with our relationship. I think it's a personal struggle that I have to deal with. Like I don't take anything against you for having this drive and motivation. I actually see it as something that I can look up to. One thing that I have to always keep in mind is that you work things a certain way. Your 100% is very different from my 100%. So I have to make sure that if I do something full force, I do it at my capacity. Kasi baka ma-burn out ako if I do things your way. I just have to keep in mind, do what works for you and do things that make you happy. For this past year, I have been slowly trying to do things that I want to do on my own without having to ask for your approval. You know how like before I would say na, Fofo, okay lang ba na gawin ko to? Like parang feeling ko I had to ask your approval if it was okay. And that's something that you addressed to me. Like, Bones, if you want to do it, you should go for it. If you're passionate about it, you should push for it. And I think that's a feeling that I had to deal with at a certain time. Dapat ba okay tong lahat ng ginagawa ko kay Fofo?
I don't know if I completely agree with what you said, where you said you don't want to do 100% like me because you might get burnt out. And the mere fact that you're thinking of burnout before even trying out 100%. So these are the conversations that we would have. Because Bonizi would not want to try and give herself to a new activity because she's afraid of what will happen when she does it. And I tell her, usually, go for something. Go for something, give yourself to that activity, commit to it, and when there are problems, fix it when there's a problem na.
Yeah.
Because Bonizi has this attitude of foreseeing a problem and kahit wala pa talaga doon, ginagawa na niyang problema niya. I was waiting for you to kind of say that. But I decided I'm just gonna blurt it out for you. So bago pa magka-problema, iniisip na at ginagawa na niyang problema. And I tell her, no, wait it out.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. Kasi baka sakaling may subukan ka at posibleng walang problema.
Yeah.
There are times, swak lang talaga. And I think that's the initiative that I've always asked of Bonizi. And it's something that I still ask of her. That, hey, you want to grow as a person, you're going to have to try out new things. But you're not going to be able to try out new things if you're thinking of the problems first before doing it.
Yes. So I haven't completely gotten over that. It's a work in progress, honestly. But I think that I've been able to slowly get there.
Opposite ends of the spectrum, Bonizi definitely needs to look for that motivation and that drive and assertiveness when it comes to anything really. And me, I need to learn how to temper that ego and passion. Either of those attributes can definitely lead to a more destructive relationship or can be detrimental to a relationship. Those are just some of the stories that I'm happy to share because I think that people will be able to resonate and really be able to relate to some of the things that we said.